Apologies in advance for the microphone quality, but we are now in day 9 of the Curse of the All-Flame League, and just yesterday I managed to finally get my Mageblood. On top of this, I still have a decent amount of money left over. According to Wealthy Exile, I have around 200 divines worth of random stuff. I have a lot of Veiled Chaos Orbs here, I have 36 raw divines, over 3,000 Chaos, some Fracturing Orbs, Orbs of Conflict, all this adds up to, around 200 divines. This is a relatively fast pace for me, and my farming ability on this build is really subpar compared to a lot of popular builds, because it is quite frankly a shitpost in the form of a build that has really atrocious clear, pretty good single target admittedly, and horrendous survivability. So I wanted to make an explanation of my farming strategy to show you all that, especially in this league where everyone is saying loot feels bad and it's poverty league and whatever, that you can make a very decent amount of money even if you have a very subpar build. I call this strategy Scour and Go because essentially it farms all the strategies that in no way benefit from having increased item quantity, increased item rarity, or increased pack size of maps. Basically, all the reasons that you would run a map rare or do corrupted 8 mods, this strategy ignores all of it and just runs the map white. A side effect of this is that these maps are actually quite easy to run. You never have to worry about accidentally opening a map that has a bricked mod, and your maps will be relatively homogeneous in terms of how easy they are to run. While you have options for what you can do, I personally have decided to focus fully on Jun, Mercenaries, Heist. And then I also have a little bit of map drops up here, so synthesized maps and then Shaper and Elder Guardian maps. But the core of the strategy is just Mercenaries, Jun, and Heist. Do also note that during the Curse of the All-Flame League, we got another source of supplemental income. If we go over to the Sovereign over here, unfortunately I did liquidate these a little bit earlier, so I'm not going to have as many to show off as I normally would. But charts. Charts are a great way to get extra money. I didn't even notice that I have an anchor field here. Charts are a great way to get additional money because these are selling for about 6 to 7 chaos each, just for a random one. And if you happen to get lucky, which apparently I did here, anchor fields are worth quite a bit. Let me actually look this up. An anchor field, area level 83, that's 130 chaos if you just happen to get lucky and find one. But all of these things are things that in no way benefit from map quant, map rarity, or pack size, and you just get a chart for killing like a few enemies and whatever, and just a little bit of extra supplemental income. With all of these strategies combined, you can expect to leave an average map with, a few dozen chaos and various things, various bits and bobs. But the real big ticket items that I've found come from mercenaries and from syndicate safe houses. You can also get like fully revealed blueprints, or you can get blueprints that have, let's see if I have any. You can get blueprints that have, there we go, there's one. Heist targets are always currency or scarabs. These are relatively valuable. This one's worth about 100 chaos. You could also get an experimented basis one, which I unfortunately have not found up until now, but those are also pretty valuable. The Syndicate in particular is where most of my money comes from, and it's a really good thing to do on Scour and Go because Syndicate is generally a little bit more of a difficult mechanic, but the safe houses, like everything in this strategy, don't benefit from map mods. But what you can do is if I come over here to Jun, I'm getting a lot of rewards from Varici, It That Fled, Haku, and Gravicius. These two are going to give me a ton of scarabs, and Varici is going to give me random stacks of, like full stacks of currency, which has not been very good, I'll be honest. Most I've gotten out of him is like 20 chaos at a time. But It That Fled can give you Foulborn uniques, and these have huge variants, but you can hit some really big jackpots. Like, Foulborn Mageblood is obviously the creme of the crop, but you could also get, like, Foulborn Wrathpith Globe, or in my case, the most expensive thing I've gotten from them up until this point was a Foulborn Barracks Respite, which I sold for 27 divines. This is really a great source of money, because these rewards are really consistent, and on top of that, besides just the things that you get from the leaders themselves, you will also get a lot of Veiled Chaos Orbs, and the really big thing is Syndicate Medallions. These are currently a little under 4 divines. I guess they're crashing a little bit, but I've seen them go up to like 7 divines in the league, and I would expect this to go back up to 5 divines relatively soon as people start doing their endgame crafts, and they need veiled exalted orbs for that, because the all flame crafting mechanic is really good with all these really valuable currencies like veiled exalted orbs. The mechanics for how you run the syndicate are a little bit complex, but at its most basic, you want to have 2 members in whichever 2 wings of your choosing. In my case, I'm doing transportation and intervention, and you want to have 5 people in each of the other wings. These guys are currently jailed, but you'll see that they show up under fortification and research. I only have 2 in transportation, 2 in intervention. And the 4 members that you choose for these positions will dictate what rewards you get. Like I mentioned earlier, Farichi gives full stacks of currency, that Flood gives Foulborn Uniques, Haku is going to give me Ambush Scarabs, and Gravitius is going to give me Divination Scarabs, but you could do a bunch of other things as well. Just depends on what your preferences are, what the market looks like. And then we want to have 5 members in each of these divisions, and we want to have each of our members of these 2 divisions be connected with each of the members of the 5-member divisions, Fortification and Research. We do not want to have any overlap between members of the 2 divisions, 2-person divisions, or between members of the 5-member divisions. So I don't want to have, for instance, any links between Ashling and Tora, or Jorgen and Corel, but I do want to have Haku linked to literally everyone, Varichi linked to literally everyone, except I don't want Varichi to Haku, I don't want Varichi to Gravitius, and I don't want Varichi to hit that Flood. Other than that, you want them to be connected to everyone. The point of this is that you get syndicate encounters in your maps, and they are increasingly likely to bring in this guy, or this guy, or this guy, or this guy. Even if you're doing fortification and research, you can then execute them, and because of this node up here, when you execute them, you will be getting 6 intelligence. Even if you're doing a research encounter, if you execute the leader of an intervention encounter, you will get 6 intervention intelligence. So you can build up your intelligence relatively quickly. And the way that I run this strategy is the only scarab that I'm using, you can see my maps over here, all of them are white. The only scarab that I'm using is the Betrayal Scarab of Reinforcements. This is an incredibly cheap and incredibly common scarab. It only costs me 1 chaos per map. And if I'm buying these maps, which I tend to almost self-sustain, I only have to buy every now and again, your total investment per map only comes out to about 3 chaos. And they're really, really quick to run. So let me do a map showcase, just to show you what the build looks like, or what the strategy looks like. And again, I have prepared in advance, so I will be getting safe houses in this map, but you can expect to get a safe house maybe every 4 to 5 maps with this strategy.
Approach, challenger.
I'm basically just going to run through the map, clear only what I essentially need to. Because I have these maps being white, I don't get a huge amount of benefit from killing everything. I only really benefit from killing the things that I've invested into. So here, unfortunately, Guff did not bring anything with him. I'm just going to release him because I don't want him to be in any way related to Ashling. Here we have the intervention, and he brought a lot of people with him. So now,
Death holds no terror for me.
I actually don't want to do this because you don't want to have both of your safe houses active at the same time. So what I'm actually going to do here, which is a little bit unusual, is I'm going to rank up Leo. I'm going to rank up Tora so that I don't advance my intervention to a safe house just yet. And then I'm going to bargain with Gravitius. And actually, I'm just going to leave my map. Remember, these maps have incredibly low investment, and my primary money doesn't actually come from the map, it comes from the safe house. So I'm just going to open up the safe house, because I'm worried that if I do the other intervention encounters, I may lose that safe house. I just run all the way to the very end.
You have become tangled in our tapestry, exile. I see energy.
Kill them.
If
Execute.
You have to cut the
Unfortunately, I didn't get a Syndicate Medallion or a Veiled Chaos Orb, but they're relatively common. And then I can see in here if I get anything useful. I don't think any of these are particularly useful. I'm just going to take the Dancing Dervish because it's cool. And then Verici, Armor Scraps, Whetstones, Chance Orbs. Nothing particularly great. But then all I have to do is I have to go back, open another map, and basically just do it again. And here we have one of the chart encounters. These guys are very easy to kill, and just like that, this is something I can sell for just like 7 chaos, and I put basically no effort into it. And Mercenaries is another one of the mechanics. Again, these maps are white, so these guys are not going to be that powerful. They're still sometimes dangerous, but if you know what you're doing, you can really deal with them quite easily. A lot of the time I will check what they have, but just for the sake of the showcase, I'm just going to go for the easiest option, which is just take whatever they have in their backpack. Oh, a little bit of extra money there. I'll grab that transportation on the way back. And hopefully you can see what I mean, that this build is not, like, not a great clearing build, even with Mageblood giving me an incredible amount of extra speed. Like, I'm not clearing this map particularly quickly. A Righteous Fire player would clear it much quicker, a Death's Oath player would clear it much quicker, a Winter Orb player would clear it much quicker. And yet, in spite of that, I was still able to make enough money to afford these really expensive, powerful items. Oh, and there we go. So that gives me all the information I need for the intervention safe house. And again, I'm going to avoid doing these encounters over here because I'm paranoid that I may end up losing my encounter, the safe house. That has unfortunately happened many times in the past where I get full intelligence and then it somehow all gets wiped. And I don't know why it happens. But just to avoid that happening, in this showcase, just going to run the safe house. None of these guys really matter. You can kill them because they have 100% increased EXP gain on them. But it's not really important.
I will hang your head on my belt, as Khaum did Lioneye. Two ancestors. Have you forsaken? I choose.
Your body is strong.
And again, nothing. Very unfortunate showcase, but this is where most of your money comes from. You can see here I got 4 Divination Scarabs of the Cloister, 1 of Plenty and 1 of Pilfering. These Pilfering ones are actually quite expensive right now. They're like 51 chaos. And these Cloister ones, they're also going down. But they were a lot. They were 10 chaos a few days ago. And then here, sometimes you get a Ambush of Containment, but even there, you know, Discernment is really good. Those are like 8 chaos each. And then just base Ambush Scarabs, 3 chaos each. So you get a little bit of extra profit here and there. And that's really the gist of the strategy. Like, you just go into white maps, you run Jun, you do the Mercenaries, you pick up rogue caches. Sometimes they will have... Actually, didn't pick up any. Huh. Let me... Nah, whatever. You'll pick up rogue caches as you go through this. And sometimes they will have contracts, sometimes they'll have blueprints. The Deception contracts sell for like 3 chaos apiece. Normal blueprints you can also sell for like 2 chaos apiece. If they happen to be one of the valuable ones, like the one I showed earlier, the one that gives currency, you can sell those for a little bit more. These ones, you can sell the rogue caches, or the rogue markers, for a little bit of extra money. But all of it comes together to give you a few dozen chaos per map off of very little investment, and with extremely low build requirements, I think is the important thing. If you have a really shitty build, this strategy will work to get you the money that you need to buy the items that will help you get your build to hopefully not be so bad. And so, for variations on the strategy, if you don't feel comfortable running Mercenaries, because I get it, Mercenaries can be pretty rippy, you can instead decide to spec up here into these extra map drops. So Vivid Memories, Remnants of the Past, you can grab Conquered Conquerors. I would also recommend picking up these, the Influence Map Chance, because Influence Maps can sell, I think, for 5 chaos apiece. And then, especially, grab these Memory Tears. you want to take traumatic experience and remembered kindness and not take educated upbringing, because of the three, the memory of reverence is the most expensive. It's about 15 chaos right now. So you get one of those every few maps. It just adds a little bit of profit. And again, it's not something that you have to actually kill or do anything to interact with it. You just click on it and suddenly 15 chaos falls on the ground. So that's my overview of the Scour and Go strategy. I found this to be really successful for poorly optimized builds and can wholeheartedly recommend it. Thanks for watching, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions or comments. Best of luck!